We have our winter white. I'm wearing
I know,
but with WomanUP underneath.
Hello, everyone. It's
Hey,
Fierce
hey.
Female Friday. We have successfully slayed another week. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it is the 11th. And for those of you who have been around the show or me for any amount of time, you know, I'm so passionate about the number 11. And this is our final 11th of 2020.
Oh, congrats. I totally forgot.
Yes.
It's the 11th. Happy 11th,
It's the
Deborah.
11th. Yes. I know Andrew woke me up this morning with a beautiful coffee, of course, in my WomanUP mug. And he's like, Happy 11th, love. And I was like, oh, these are the best days. So it is the
beautiful.
11th. Tell us where you are watching from, everyone. You know, we love to hear. And we have gotten some wonderful, wild answers over this year. So let us know where you are. Are you home? Are you at the office, at the beach, top of a mountain? You know, fill us in. As you're doing that, I'm going to share a couple of updates. And then, of course, you know, Sarah's going to share a couple of updates. And then we're going to swing right into an amazing interview, our final interview of 2020. Okay, so as all of you know, our final book club is this month, because it's December, and it is happening next week. It's on the 15th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, and Nina Dosange is joining us. For those of you who attended the WomanUP virtual conference that we hosted on our own virtual private island, you likely heard Nina share her wisdom in one of our W3 talks, and she shared in that time together with us that she goes through this book, reads this book every December. And so she's going to join us. We're going to talk about her process. We're going to talk through a bit about the book and really share with each other what we learned about ourselves reading about Santiago, the boy. So that is happening again on the 15th. We'll drop the link into the event to make sure that you get registered on Zoom, because this is not a Facebook Live event. This is actually a private conversation that we host over in a Zoom meeting. So make sure you get registered for that. Second update is our final wisdom series session is next week. That is on Wednesday, the 16th. Oh my goodness. It's like past the half a month. So December 16th on Wednesday, 11 a.m., we have Courtney Polis, Gretchen Pearson, and Liz Faircloth joining us. You probably haven't met Liz yet. She actually is part of an organization called Invest Her. It's about real estate, and they help women step into investing in real estate. So those three powerhouses are going to be sharing a view style conversation next week. Make sure, again, you get registered for that. If you've missed any of them and you didn't register for them, so you haven't gotten the replay for them, don't worry. We are going to host an entire replay round 2 in January as we are all kind of building up for what's to come in 2021. So never fear, we got you covered. We would love to know what is happening in your world. We've seen there's, of course, so many women's councils getting together and doing their installations for 2021. And we've seen a lot of those shared on the Facebook group, but we'd also love to know what's going on in your world, what's going on in your business. Did you have a big win this week or in the last couple of weeks? Drop that in the comments and let us celebrate with you. It is the season to celebrate and do happy dances for each other. So drop that in the comments below. All right, Miss Sarah, what you got for us?
Well, speaking of this year, you know, it was really wonderful to get together with the brokers today in California. We get together since March, it was about every Friday for eternity. It was what it felt like. And Vicki had been a part of those very actively. I think it was bittersweet today because it was our last of the year. And as we look into 2021, we will continue those. Put a big smile on, Vicki. And I do want to invite any California brokers. It is California specific because we do a lot of, protocols, laws, stuff that matters in California. And so if you know any broker that needs to be on the call, just tap their shoulder, let them know about these. It's a great community, because what we started to see were all these questions for staff and for our leadership team in the beginning. And then what you have seen over the course of this year was the community building, and especially in the chat, and just people sharing their best practices. And I love Kathy Maringer because she's always on the right side of everything, and she is fierce in that chat. So I encourage you to reach out to me, sarahs@car.org, or just, post DM me on Facebook if you are a California broker. We'll get you involved into those Friday calls. Also taking effect are some new laws, and we'll put the links in the chat below. But they're new laws. One is significant. On January 1, there is a mandatory disclosure and advisory on new fire hardening here in California. And if you know, California is a wildfire state, and that is not getting better anytime soon, unfortunately. So there is a mandatory disclosure and advisory. It's called the Home Fire Hardening Disclosure and Advisory, that will be mandatory with all of your transactions starting Jan 1. And we have a couple other forms, releases, and information that will also be in that link that we share. So just heads up on that. And then also, for those of you who received pandemic unemployment assistance, what we don't want is for you to have to pay anything back. So I will also post a link in the chat about making sure that you UI online, that's unemployment insurance online. It's the EDD website. And if you have received any unemployment assistance this year, you have to certify your income verification. And if you do not do that, you have to pay it back. So we'll let you know. Those links are in there. Just a friendly public announcement there. And that's it from me. I'm really excited to get into our interview with Vicki.
Yes. Before I do that, I got Teresa Boardman's like, what book? It's The Alchemist. We're reading The Alchemist next week. That's like a very important element. I forgot to mention The Alchemist. Yes, the boy Santiago in The Alchemist. So join us if you can. Able. Yes, yeah. Join us if you are able. So it's going to be so much fun. Okay, so let's talk about Vicki. So Vicki was formerly in the legal profession as a legal secretary and paralegal for 15 plus years. Then she transitioned and transferred those skills into real estate in 1991. She is a leader in the industry and very knowledgeable in all aspects of residential real estate. She's a top producer in Southwest Riverside County and recognized by Coldwell Banker, one of our fabulous sponsors, as well as Coldwell Banker Corporate for being in the top 5 in her office, with most of those years being top selling agent, the top selling, I needed to bold that, the top selling agent in the office. Vicki handles a high volume of transactions with a high success rate of closed transactions. She is also the director of training for Coldwell Banker ABR and manages one of its 3 office locations located in Southwest Riverside County. So she's clearly an underachiever. What the heck? Welcome to the show, Vicki. How many hats did we just say? I mean, at least 3, if not 4. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me here today. And boy, I forgot what I really was all about till you read that. But
that's what we're here for, Vicki.
Actually, I am not involved in managing an office right now. I did for a while. I'm part of the management team, but I am the director of training, and I do mentoring for my company too.
Ooh.
And I have something to show you gals, because I've been wanting this for a period of time, and I finally, because I was bugging Sarah. So look what I have.
Yay, you got it!
Yes!
Merry Christmas to
got
me.
The swag. Yes! I love it. Is that the sweatshirt?
That's a sweatshirt.
I should have put mine on today.
Yeah, I could have worn that instead of my sweater. Anyways, I'm so glad that it made its way to you. I love that. I know when I put posted, you were the very first person to purchase anything. When I said, hey, we've got new swag in the store, you were the very first sale that came through. You were like, yes.
Well, I've been bugging Sarah. I think you were out of stock or something was going on because of COVID.
Yeah,
But
that's
and I have to
exactly
tell you,
right.
too, I really was sad because all the years when you started this, I applaud you ladies and Leslie and the team that started WomanUP. It's something that I looked to want to attend every year, but you were always on the heels of either CAR or NAR. You're right before or after, and then also I'm involved with Rotary in my area. I'm the president-elect, and we have our mayor's ball every October, end of September, beginning, in somewhere in October. So I was always in the throes of doing something like that. So I never got to see a live one, but I became an avatar this year.
Awesome.
I became an avatar this year. Yes.
Oh, what a great way into the community is through our avatars.
That sure was fun.
Yes, and awkward for me.
I miss my avatar.
I'm sure you weren't alone though, Vicki. We got out of our comfort zone and we did the hard thing, but it was probably uncomfortable.
But it was also fun. It was really a lot of fun. I could do cartwheels now and things I never knew I could before. So thank you.
I love it. I can
There's an upside to that.
Yeah, there was some, like, we were breakdancing and doing like crazy moves in those little teeny bodies. That was fun. That was definitely fun. So what have you been up to the last few months since the event? What's going on in your world?
Wow. I started to kind of out a little bit more, back in September and August, September. And then we kind of got closed down. But, since we are essential, I'm still out there in the community, double masking now and just trying to be more careful. I do my listings and the closing deals. So I'm grateful that I have that because I talk to others that don't have that. In fact, one of the trustees at the college that I'm with, he's a co-trustee. He was saying yesterday, Vicki, I'm so glad that you actually have real estate. You have some place to go. You hopefully have some place to go here in real estate. And he said, I've only seen my four walls for the last 9 months.
Yeah.
And it was a little dark about it. So I think we're blessed to have a reason to get out and do something meaningful and of service to the community, to our clients.
Yeah, so good. So good. But in being out there and with your clients, were there any, significant changes you experienced or had to overcome with your clients and stuff like that? Can you take a sneak peek into the life of Vicki in the real estate field?
It was quite different, and what really, I think for me and I think for others, we just became a lot more creative in what we need to do, not just not in technology being the only one, which of course a lot of us had to pivot and change, but also in how we approached our clients and relationships and marketed properties. I used to go, and I have two quick stories, but I remember going to the door to meet a client back when we were still doing gloves and booties and the whole deal. And they'd answer the door and I'd just say, trick or treat. I'm all, it's not even Halloween, but I look like I'm all dressed up for something.
That's cute.
Either surgery or, and they would kind of look at me, because the gloves was in the booties. But and one time actually, one of my clients is a friend that I went to their house to list the home and just see it, and they were ready during COVID, and they have two dogs. I know their dogs. I've been to their house, and one of them bit me, and I haven't been bit by a dog in a really long time. But we realized because I had my mask on, kind of scared these two little sweet creatures. So it's been kind of fun. You have to poke fun. Have the courage to get out and laugh at yourself, or about the situation.
Yeah, I do. I actually do wonder about our dogs in all of this. like I feel for them. Like my Lizzie, she's here sleeping in the corner as per usual. But like she used to love engaging with the other animals on our walks. And now it's like, we're all crossing the street to avoid each other. And I think, I wonder what goes on in their little minds, like, hey, what's going on? Why don't I get to sniff that person and that dog over there? We're all good. We're all going to have to experience re-entry.
I have two cats wondering why I'm still home, because I'm usually never here.
They can't do their normal antics with you home.
I can't get on the table because I'm here. They can't do all the little things. So, yeah.
That's hilarious. I bet Kiki does the same thing, Sarah.
It's so funny. I have a short Kiki story. So the kids were playing with something on the kitchen counter, and we have like this, huge kitchen counter, and they left it there, and then we left, and Kiki can't get on the counters, but what they left on the counter was like they were making cookies or whatever, and so you could see that when we left and came back, her paw prints were on there. I was like, evidence that little was on my kitchen counter. I was dying. But yeah, she's loving the humans in her life, and she'll like meow at me to let her out every few minutes because she can.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Vicki. So let's switch gears and get into why we really want to know a little bit more about you. So, will you tell us about your first leadership role? And I think the important question here is, did you ask for it, or were you asked to do it? Were you recruited?
Again, there's so many layers as it relates to leadership roles. So I don't know which hat I'm wearing, but I'll start with the career one. Okay. I'll lead off with that. So I'm from Chicago, and out of high school, I started working as a teller in a downtown bank, and I had a really great time. A lot of people I met, but I knew that wasn't going to be where I would stay. But one of the interesting thing is that for some reason they identified me, and I really can't tell you why, Sarah, but they asked me to apply in the personnel department as payroll clerk. Now I don't know how they got from teller to payroll clerk, but I thought, okay, I can do that, and I went up there, and this was like in the 1970, I want to say 1974-ish timeline, and this is when EEOC and affirmative action and all of those things came into play. So there were mountains and mountains of extra reporting that we had to do. But so I went through that for about a year, and then our personnel executive director, left, and there was just the secretary and myself. So I was kind of promoted into that position, and we had like 300 employees at the time, and so I had to learn very quickly all the HR kind of things. Whatever we had back then is so different from today. And the thing here's where they asked me at one point to actually take the personnel director role. And at a young age, I was very flattered and very but I knew that I didn't think I was ready for that. But there were two women in my life this is where I really got to know about women mentorship and sisterhood, that kind of thing. The CEO, the COO, and another gal in that department kind of coached me, and they really wanted me to take that position, and really mentored me. So I held the assistant executive director role for about 6 months until they did find someone, and then I had found a gentleman at the time, and so it was a good transition for me to leave that because I needed to move on, because I told you I knew I wouldn't want to be in a bank most of my life. But I remember that very vividly, even today. I think of those two women that really, oversaw or saw something in me and mentored me and encouraged me. And I thought then that I need to kind of, pay that forward going forward. I want to help someone, because in that era, as you well know, the women in leadership, or especially in career positions, there weren't that many of them.
Wow.
No, when I think of like the late 70s, kind of in the career, I always think of the movie 9 to 5.
Dolly
And
Parton.
yes, our loves, right? Lily Tomlin,
Mm,
uh, Dolly Parton, and Jane Fonda. And Lily and Jane are still doing things with, Grace and Frankie, and it's
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, I love it.
But really, I remember being a little girl and watching that, and I didn't realize really what I was watching. I just was listening to this great music and these women, but really watching the sisterhood, like the sisterhood
Beautiful.
in that movie was so incredibly inspiring to me as a little girl, thinking like, look, these ladies are doing things together, and they're making it happen. Now I didn't realize that they were basically torturing, kidnapping their boss, but the
The dream we've all had, I'm sure.
I'm sure. But I think that they're, your tenacity to not only step into something that you're like, I don't really know if I want that, but you also are, this is not what I want long term. So this is not, putting yourself in that role. Did it make sense to you? But you still leaned in and learned and participated. And that's happy dance worthy, right? Like, I think that's great.
Absolutely.
I love that.
It gave me the confidence, it kind of launched or brought something else out in me that I knew that I could do it and others would believe in me.
Hmm.
That's so beautiful, because it is something that we've been seeing throughout our interviews and the women on the Woman Up stages. And it starts with the person who saw something, whether it's a man or a woman in leadership at that time. They saw something, they tapped that, woman on stage or in leadership on the shoulder at one point in time, and they saw something in them that those women didn't see in themselves. And that's so important for us to remember as we go through our lives, and can have a huge impact on the
Yes.
people around us. I love
Yes.
that.
Preach, preach. Well, and it's a great call to action, right? Especially as we're going into the final weeks of 2020. Who can you speak life into? Right? And our women's council sisters are very, very good at this. I think almost every single women's council leadership role that has ever been filled started with somebody going, "Hey, you want to greet people at the door?" Or, "Hey, you want to come and, do the inspiration at this meeting?" Like they're very good about asking, and we can show that, as bright, bold examples that the women and the men inside this community are the ones who ask those who are not yet confident enough to ask for themselves.
Right. And getting into CAR, that's how I got involved. Somebody asked.
Yes.
I didn't uh, search this out nor try to get involved initially, but I think if somebody asked you, if you have a servant heart, you're there. There's purpose.
So tell us what you do at CAR and how you got involved. Let's go into that leadership journey.
Well, obviously started with somebody asking me to be involved at the local association level committee. Then I was on the board, and then eventually president. But the CAR leadership, it was interesting. When I first got there, I kind of felt like lost. There wasn't anyone there to take me under their arm and tell me what it was about and what CAR was all about. So after a couple of years, I've kind of figured out. But the one thing that kind of catapulted me into what I really could see CAR does for our members, because so many of them, they don't sometimes see the value, but there is a great amount of value. There was a rental restriction being imposed on one of the HOAs very close to me, and I had an investor client, and he came to me one day just livid because the HOA was going to pass regulation that he had many rentals in there and nice rentals, that he would have to be limited to the amount of rentals that he could have. And this is a single
Mhm.
family plan unit development. This isn't a condo, development.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I don't know how can they do that? And this is over 10 years ago. And I said, well, let me take, I'm going to talk to my local association. I'll take this to the board and let's see what we can do, what guidance they will give us, give you. Well, we took it from that local board meeting to a CAR task force
Ooh.
to a law, to a law. My client, initiated this, and I just took the ball and ran with it. And so I worked with Alex and some of the others in this. They call it the Carpenter Law, but we tried it 3 different
Wait a
times.
minute. Wait a minute. Did you just slide over the fact that there's something called the Carpenter Law?
I
Not
know.
officially, but that's what those that were around would remember that.
Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so
And
great.
Alex that you speak of is the CAR chief lobbyist who just retired last year.
Yeah.
He's a beast in the world of lobbying in California.
Beast. I love it.
Beast. A legend. You know what, Vicki? I'm having trouble hearing you, so I don't know if you can get closer to your mic or.
So we actually crafted, or CA crafted a law. So Alex was very familiar with that. That you really couldn't restrict rentals in a single family unit or a PUD. And I went through both committees, flew through it, but the governor Schwarzenegger vetoed it once. We redrafted and came back a couple years later, and it was vetoed again. So the watered down version of this law now is if you purchased in this development and there were no HOA or rental restrictions, you are grandfathered in. And so you would not have to sell your home, or you're not considered one of the rentals there. And Brown signed that law. So that bill. So now it is law. So it was something that, and that, Sarah, to answer your question, is when I thought, wow, we can make a difference. All can work together and make a difference. I think Howard was on, it was common interest development at the time. And so we worked with that committee, and I'm very proud of that committee and the work we did.
Oh, what a great story. This is where inspiration flies in this community. Right? It's people understanding that you actually can make a difference. You have the power to ask the questions and to participate in those conversations. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't know how we got there, but I'm so thankful we got there because this is something I can see. Lori's like, this is so big time, Vicki. You're a rock star. Like these are
The Carpenter Law. That's amazing. I mean, right
Law.
there.
Right. So good. I love that.
About CAR leadership, and then from there I was regional chair and standard forms chair, and this year behind a Zoom camera I was on the executive committee, which is where I really wanted to be, for a number of years. I'm not done yet, but I think that at some point I got to pave the way, and then I got to get up, for others to come up and experience what I've experienced, and there's always something else that I can be working on and helping, but I still there's a couple things I still want to do at CAR and in leadership. So I hope they'll have the opportunity.
Well, I think one of the things that we've learned a lot in our community here is that when you're ready to open up your seat at the table, there's another table called the mentor table that is so ready for you, Vicki. Right? I mean, because there are women who are coming up into our community of WomanUP and saying, how do I do that? How do I get on a committee? What does being on a committee mean? Right? And they want to know from somebody who's actually walked the walk. And so I think that's fantastic. If you are not already in the mentorship program, I'd love to encourage you to join that. And if you are, I'd love it if you'd add, a committee experience in there, because I think that's a wonderful way for people to connect to you.
I'd love to. I'd love to help. That's really where my heart is, and I love mentoring my agents, the agents that I have, because it's really exciting to see them grow, or to be successful, or to work through problems and the challenges that we all go through.
Well, I don't know if you knew we have this in common, but when I worked in corporate real estate, I was actually the director of training for Coldwell Banker ABR up here in Washington and Portland to Seattle. And so Jen Blue, I love that company. I love that organization. And I know that one of the cornerstones inside Coldwell Banker is really being innovative and how they make their agents' experience stellar so that then they can go out and serve the consumer at a higher level. And no matter what the value word is that's connected to that in whatever season or decade, training is where a lot of that happens, right? And I'd love to hear how you as a leader in that space, what happened? Like, what lessons did you learn in how did you keep your agents, your brokers truly connected and trained up in 2020?
Oh, let's just start with CAR. I mean, how did we do this? I think that we were all kind of like, we were just in circles. We didn't know what to do next when this all came out, and I think my one broker was in a fetal position for a period of time until, and it's the industry leader, Sarah, you know, we bring back a lot, and it made our agents feel a little more comfortable, and they knew that there was a path, to I can still be involved. But that weekly meeting for a period of time just gave us the breath and the blood of it kept us going. We were still alive. We knew we were still alive. Gov's updates and Joel's. I mean, and we got to know them on a deeper level. I've known those characters, those brokers for a number of years. I love them. Kathy is a mentor of mine, and Maringer. So that really, I think, kept us focused, kept us wanting to, bring it. I just feel badly for the new agents because it's been very difficult for them in this environment because of everything that's going on. But God, they are trained up. When the floodgates open, the should be rock stars is all I've got to say. Before training, then we, and they've had the time to do the training, whereas in the past they would find reasons not, or they'd have a deal and that would consume them. So I kind of want to say that you watch TV and all that bad stuff was on TV, but when we got to the table on Friday morning, you just kind of our shoulders were lifted. We knew that we had direction, and we could focus on just moving and persevering, moving forward. It was okay. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, I love that community, and thank you for that. There's so much power in the way everybody showed up, this year. And we started those weekly Friday meetings, and they were literally, I don't think I took a Friday off except for my daughter's birthday and my son's birthday. Those are the only 2 Fridays I took off all year. Mm-hmm. And it's Friday, every single Friday since like March 19th or 20th. It was insane. And then, we started to get in a lull, so we would do every other Friday. And even when we would do every other Friday, I would get dozens of emails saying, "Are we having a call today?"
I love that.
What were you saying, Vicki?
We look forward to it, and you were such an outstanding moderator and host. So you heard the cats well.
I learned so many skills by moderating that call. I'm able to know Zoom really well, do the chat, highlight, mute people. That's my chief function, is muting people. This is fun. This is a reflection on my year. No, but I think, tying it back to this community, and there's a lot of overlap because we have a lot of the women who are on those calls. And you saw one day we stayed after, and I'm sorry you didn't have your WomanUP swag at that time, Vicki, but we stayed. I was like, look at all those WomanUP women wearing WomanUP t-shirts in the boxes. I was like, that is representation.
Yeah.
And it has been such a beautiful thing to watch WomanUP kind of filter into everything we do, and this year was, we were talking in the green room about WomanUP this year, and it was your first WomanUP, right? And we did the hard things. Vicki wanted to be at every other WomanUP before this year, but came as an avatar. And we'd love to hear a little bit about your aha moment or your favorite moment of Woman Up this year. What were your highlights?
Oh gosh, I think a lot of it was not just the breakouts and the speakers. It was just it was entertaining to see how everybody intertwined, and the levity that you had. I mean, because we needed something like that at that point. So it was truly entertaining. It was a lot of fun, very informational, and I can't wait to do it live. To be honest with you, but I look forward to that. So just thank you for giving us a break, something different than a normal Zoom call, and some of the great leaders that you had on stage, and the material and the content was over the top. But I think for me it was mostly all of that, because I do all those things normally, but it was the entertaining aspect of it that kept me going, going back to, and trying to find people. It was just so much fun, like, what room are they in now? And I'd find you eventually.
That's right. The teleporting was hilarious.
Yes.
Like, poof, we're somewhere else. And I think that one of the most beautiful underlying messages that we've gotten this year, outside of we can do hard things, thank you, Glennon, is that when one of us is having trouble, when one of us is feeling down, when one of us is feeling like we're falling behind, that there's so many others who just circle right around. And we've seen it in the good and the bad. I mean, both sides of it, right? The struggle and the success. I think about when Kama opened her brokerage, right? I mean, her first, like, the big announcement was actually on the first day of the event, and how leading up to that, she's hanging out with Sabrina and she's doing these walks with Kama, and all of the women in the community are cheering her on with, getting that license to this level and getting it hung over there and getting an office space for this, and that we can all be part of each other's story. Of course, that requires us to share our story so that other people know how to support us. And one of the most interesting conversations that I feel like I've had this year in the comments underneath the show was actually last week when we had Melanie on, and you and I were kind of going back and forth about this. I have this feeling like this a little bit of a weight on my heart, because we're in December and there's usually so many like auctions and dinners and all of these things where you go and you bring your checkbook, or now you bring your credit card or Venmo or whatever, and you donate, right? You donate, you really, you pay it forward so that the people who have less than you are able to finish the year strong and start the year strong. And you are really you have such a passion for volunteering. I'd love to hear some of the things that you've learned this year in that space of your life, in the volunteering. How have you gotten people to come together and give?
And that's the challenge. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to Kama, because she's going into leadership, or she is leadership at my association. So anyway, I love Kama, and I wish her the best. And I know that the struggle is real. We all have those. And I just love the fact that she's so open and honest and transparent about it, because that's where we learn. We have to have the courage to fail, and then
Yes.
get back up and just keep going down the path. So as far as it relates to volunteerism and getting, there's so many charities right now that are suffering and struggling, as we all know.
Right.
Food banks, and we just did a one I did it with a council member, Lisa Sobek, for the domestic violence, because now with families, it's been very challenging, and for these families, and now they're all together all the time, and if they weren't a strong unit before, they certainly they were tested. They're being tested still. And so our shelter has been, we've had more going through there than normal. So we've just learned to do the charitable events, if we can, is drop off. Rotary, the president, Debbie Mannion, is doing, we're still doing Santa Claus. We're doing a Santa's workshop. And and the police in my department, or my city, they just filled up their police vans with, or Jeeps with all these toys and food for our community. And so I think it's finding the creative way to do it, but not stopping. And it's still very challenging. So whatever is out there, I think we're going to find that going forward, I think we're going to do some virtual after we can do live, go back to live stuff again. And I can do the mayor's ball and get involved and do that. Those things are fun, but you can do these side fundraisers. I think with Zoom, you can get very creative with this kind of platform at any rate. So it's been kind of the drive-bys. It's been a Zoom. We just did our Christmas party last night, Zoom. I wish I had a little tape to show you because we were wondering how to do that. Like we do the CAR conferences, we're all up on the screen, which I think they did an outstanding job doing that. But what they did a production, but it was a live production and it was really well done, which gave me ideas for going forward with Zoom on charities, because I can actually take what they did, that playbook, and just incorporate it in and utilize it in another for a charitable event.
Like, what was your favorite thing? What was your favorite thing in that playbook?
They had all the prizes, just the normal things we would do at our normal Christmas party. And so they had everybody's name. We did raffles. We played charades. We all had a little part. There was like 20 of us that we played charades. We played bingo. It was very quick, very short, so it didn't take up a lot of time, but it kept the room, or the Zoom room, energized. And we just had a really good time. So I have to applaud my brokers on that. I didn't know how they were going to do that, but I see it that I can do that. We can do raffles. We can do all those things the same way they did it for these charities. That's what I saw in my mind last night. That's what was going on. And
yes.
I'm taking notes, and I'm going to be going to them and seeking their help actually too on this.
Yeah, I think that, we're all learning, right? We're all learning how to recreate a lot of the experiences. And it really is, at least on our coast here between Seattle and LA, we're going to be doing things virtually in Q1. I mean, so we still have 3.5 months ahead of us where we need to make things exciting. And I would love to maybe we should do a sideshow. It sounds like a circus or something, but have maybe a mastermind around really taking our virtual conversations, our virtual meetings, our virtual events to the next level in Q1, so that we are all sharing these fun ideas, because I've seen some hoots. I mean, I've participated, like wear a hat to the happy hour, or the bingo for, the cat that jumps in. Your cat was just on your table behind you, Vicki. And so I was laughing. I was like, oh, that little stinker, even jumping on the table while mom's home. Like all these little fun things that we can be looking for that actually keep us engaged, because we know that it is hard to sit in front of a computer all day long. And so coming up with fun new ways. I know that when we were doing the drawings, Sarah has this fun little app that she plugs everybody's name into, and it's like this, Wheel of Fortune wheel. I was like, oh, that's so fun, because it's not like just like.
I learned that from the Z. I learned that from Gen Z. My kids, they taught me that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it though, but.
That. I've seen that once before, and I didn't know where I could get that. I would love to have that. I think that
we'll post that in the chat. That's so fun. It's free and it's easy, and you just copy the name.
But this is what I mean. Like we can come together and share these stories as well, because what we also know about the WomanUP community is that the women and men in this community are so involved in philanthropy in their own space. And so if we can help each other, not only with our brokerages, right, and our association, but really how we can help our communities and our charities shine with what we're learning in our space. I mean, that brings it full circle, right? I have to say there's a couple of really funny comments on Facebook. First is Lori Namazi says, oh my God, my cat just jumped off something, as you literally said that, Deborah. So cat shenanigans abound. And then I loved Jordan's comment. He said this was his first WomanUP this year, and it was really inspiring. He wants to bring his daughter to the next live one.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love that. I think every story that we share, Sabrina's sharing is caring. I love that.
Awesome. We have a lot of our, yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
you froze, Sarah.
For sure. I do want to give a quick shout out to
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The kids are playing Fortnite. That's always the joke. See, now we could fill in that bingo square. Oh, we can see. Oh,
am I back?
You are.
You are back. We're wondering who turned on the internet.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
If it is James playing Fortnite, he's in trouble. Anyway, I did want to give a shout out, if you can hear me, to our housing affordability. We have a charitable organization devoted to creating ownership opportunities for people of California. And our leadership, Branchini, all, got together and cooked in their homes. That was their fundraising, and people showed up.
I did see that. Okay, so Sarah,
it was so cool. It was really cool. So it's really cool.
I know that this is such an amazing story that she's sharing, and I know that none of us can hear her. So we'll definitely, I did see the pictures that Jen Branchini was sharing. And so we should share those, make sure that those are shared in the group, because that's such a great story about, the community coming together. I actually, Natalie Leon, who's in our community here, who has spoken on the stage before, she sent me a note last week and said, if you're around, I'm going to be doing my installation conversation, my speech, my acceptance speech at a meeting this week. And to the point of how WomanUP has really gotten involved in lots of layers in the industry, I'd also love for us to remember that, sending the invitation out, sharing the invitation, even if it's not real estate. So Vicki, if you've got things that are happening in your charities that you think that would make sense for our community to get involved, we obviously want to invite each other to things that are happening in real estate, but outside real estate is where we can help each other as well. And so be sure to share that stuff on the group, because it is fun. There's so much going on. And I don't know about your stream, Vicki, but mine is so full. It's so full. I can't keep up. I'm like, how many times? I'm like, how many scrolls down? And I still haven't gotten through the last hour, So let us know on the group, because it's a more filtered space and how we can support each other.
And I love your idea too about doing a mastermind kind of thing. So to try to find out new and more creative ways to fundraise.
Yeah, I think, we have so many powerhouses in this community that have done so many different types of things that why not, have a more focused conversation. So I'll connect with Sarah on the schedule, and like in the first couple weeks in January, I'd love to get that on the books. We want to wind down so everyone can focus on home and family and sanity. Close 2020 out with sanity. So before we go, and as Sarah, I know she's trying to get back, but before we go, I'd love to get final words of wisdom from you. Like when you look back upon 2020 and everything that we have done together as a community, everything that's happened in your world, what do you want to speak over the community of WomanUP today?
I'd like to say, persevere. You've got the courage, you've got it in you, and take the lessons and the challenges that we've learned and kind of grow from that and learn from what we that it's not like it used to be. Just open your mind, be open to new ideas, and be open to 2021. I mean, I wish that, like my mother used to say back in June, and if she was still with us, Vicki, if you don't behave, I'm gonna slap you into next year. that would have been a great thing back in June. We could have just surpassed, gone right to 2021. But I think there's so many opportunities. And my heart goes out to, because in real estate, we've been able, again, thank you to CAR and a lot of our leadership, that we are able to be in this business. And I mean, in the business.
Yes.
Whether we're wearing masks or gloves or whatever, we were still able to be in the business. And there's so many businesses that have not been as successful as we, and that we need to remember to support them.
Yeah.
And what we've learned this year, we need to help others, I think, is what I feel. I feel so sad this new shutdown that we've had will just take out many businesses in our communities, and ones that we've supported over so many years. So I think the lesson is we're all one. We're a huge family, and help one another.
Well, what I love about that, Vicki, is it reminds us that we are woven into our communities, right? I don't know if you are on your Nextdoor app. I don't know if you have that app on your phone. And most realtors do, I know. But ours is so incredibly active and has become a touch point. Almost every day I get some kind of notification from my Nextdoor app. And it's so often it is somebody saying, hey, did you hear that, XYZ restaurant is having a tough time? Like, everyone go and order dinner there tonight. And so they're actually making a concerted effort. And we said this probably back during the summer, but it's a great reminder. And I so appreciate this, Vicki, which is a part of what we can do as real estate professionals, or those of us who serve the real estate industry, is to be that voice, to be that person who's going on to Nextdoor or the Facebook group for your community, and highlighting those businesses that we love, that have really been woven into our lives for years in the community, that we don't want to see them go away. Because when we know, and I feel like when we are very specific, like this restaurant, the Italian restaurant on 158th and 23rd needs us. Like, everyone goes, yes, go. So let's all do that this week. Let's over the next week, like, take some time out and tag some of your favorite places who are still around, who are still serving those of us. I know Sarah is desperately trying to get back, and I don't think that it's going to happen. So I'm going to share. She sent me a text, and she says, first of all, she says, I'm dying. She wanted to say that Vicki, drumroll, won the Menifee's Woman of the Year award this year. We were going to shout that out. Your servant heart and what you give back to the Menifee community was recognized. So congratulations. We're all going to give you a virtual, woo-woo dance party. Congratulations on that. And if you can imagine that's coming through Sarah's voice, please, that would be great. I know that she really wanted to be the person to say that, but we are a community. We roll through the crazy together, and today is no different. We so appreciate you, Vicki. And 2021 is going to be an amazing year in the WomanUP community and beyond, because of women like you, because of leaders like you who try the hard things, who raise your hand, who don't wait for the fire to be crazy to say, hey, how can I help? And we truly appreciate that. We appreciate your servant heart and your love and joy for humankind. Thank you.
Thank you. You really are the rock stars here. So thank you for bringing WomanUP to all of us, and for what it stands for, the men and women in WomanUP. And I want to thank all the women and men in my life that have mentored me and believed in me. And I am here if someone needs me.
I love that. Well, I will make sure that you and I connect and make sure that you've got everything you need to get onto the mentorship platform for WomanUP for 2021. That would be great. All right. For those of you who,
Hanukkah, too, by the way, I'm sorry. Happy Hanukkah today too.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah. I love learning. We're connected on Facebook, so you know this about me, but I've really this year been digging into all these different things, these different events people celebrate. And Hanukkah is such a beautiful story. I mean, it's such a beautiful story. And do we not need light over darkness in this season? Like, come on now. So if you don't know about Hanukkah, please research it. It's beautiful. You don't have to be Jewish to honor the holiday, right? Well, for all of you who joined us today live, thank you so much. For everyone watching the replay, you know the drill. If you've got questions or comments, please feel free to tag Vicki. She would love to get connected with you. That's why she's here, to share her story so that she can get connected with all of you. If you missed the beginning of the show, remember next week is our final book club of the year on the 15th with Nina Dosanjh. We're doing The Alchemist. The event link is in the comments. We're going to be doing How Women Rise in January. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you're looking for a book to be reading over the holidays, if you're taking a little bit of time back, How Women Rise is the January book. And then next Wednesday is the final Wisdom Series session, and that is Building Wealth. Courtney Polis, Gretchen Pearson, and Liz Faircloth are joining us. You can get all the information on IamWomanUp.com/woman or wisdom series. So IamWomanUp.com/wisdom series. Learn a little bit more about that. Get yourself registered on Zoom to attend that. This has been a year. It's been a wonderful year. It's been a glorious year. We've done it. We've been here together. We've survived and we've thrived and we've partied and we've had good time. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye.